The greatest villain in your story is yourself. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the biggest obstacle to your success can be yourself? If nothing changes, nothing will change. This statement may seem simple, but it hides a profound truth about personal transformation. Today, we will explore how we can become our own greatest villains and what we can do to change this narrative. How many times have you found yourself stuck in the same place, repeating the same patterns without achieving the results you desire? This is not just a coincidence, it is a sign that something within us needs to change. To have what you've never had, you must do what you've never done. So, shall we start? How are you sabotaging your own dreams, and what can we do today to start a real change? Let's turn powerful insights into practical actions that will change your life forever. Don't let your greatest villain win. The time to change is now. Now that we've delved into the topic, let's understand a bit more about a phenomenon that can be the great obstacle between you and your goals: self-sabotage. Have you ever stopped to think how sometimes the enemy is closer than we imagine? So, what exactly is self-sabotage? Self-sabotage occurs when we, consciously or unconsciously, create obstacles that prevent us from achieving our goals. This can manifest in various ways, such as procrastination, indulging in destructive behaviors, or even through negative internal dialogue that undermines our self-esteem and confidence. But why would we do this to ourselves? Sometimes it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, or even the fear of success that leads us to sabotage our own attempts at progress. Our thoughts and words have immense power over our actions. When we say things like, "I never managed to do this right," or "I will probably fail," we are, without realizing it, programming our minds for that negative outcome. Stop and think for a moment. How many times have you caught yourself doubting your capabilities, or putting yourself down before even trying something new? These are clear signs of self-sabotage, where you become your own villain, preventing yourself from moving forward and exploring your full potential. The good news is that recognizing this pattern is the first step towards changing it. By understanding how and why we sabotage ourselves, we can start to make conscious changes in our thoughts and behaviors, paving the way for a more fulfilled and successful life. Now that we've identified what self-sabotage is, let's understand how our negative thoughts, one of its most common manifestations, can actually shape the reality around us in ways we may not desire. Have you ever heard that we are what we think? This concept is not just a motivational quote. It has deep roots in psychology and even neuroscience. Our thoughts have the power to directly influence our emotions and actions. When these thoughts are negative, they can create a cycle that attracts more negativity and difficulties into our lives. But how does this happen? Let's imagine you have an important project to present. If you start thinking, "I'm not good enough, I'm going to mess everything up," these thoughts can trigger a series of emotional and physical reactions, such as anxiety, muscle tension, or even an inability to concentrate. These reactions not only affect your performance but can also influence how others perceive you, potentially leading to negative feedback that then reinforces your original belief of inadequacy. Now, think about the long-term impact of these thoughts. If every time you face a challenge your thoughts are of doubt and defeat, you will begin to avoid situations that require you to step out of your comfort zone. This limits your personal and professional growth and can keep you stuck in a state of stagnation or dissatisfaction. But what can we do to change this? The key lies in recognizing these thought patterns as soon as they arise. An effective technique is the practice of cognitive restructuring, which involves questioning the validity of your negative thoughts and replacing them with more positive and realistic ones. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm going to mess everything up," you could think, "I have prepared well and will do my best." Let's do a quick exercise together. Think of a negative thought that often invades your mind. Now, try to rephrase it in a way that is more positive or motivating. Do you see how this small change can alter your perception and eventually your actions? By practicing this conscious change in our thoughts, we can begin to break the cycle of self-sabotage and build a reality that we truly desire. Now that we have discussed the impactful role of negative thoughts, let's dive into another fundamental aspect of our internal expression, the power of words. Have you ever considered that each word you speak can build bridges or create barriers in your life? Words are much more than just communication symbols used to express ideas or emotions. They hold immense power that can profoundly affect our reality, as well as our emotional and physical well-being. How does this work? Imagine your words as seeds that you plant each day. Some of these seeds will grow into beautiful flowers, others may turn into weeds that choke your growth. For instance, when you say, "I am not capable of doing this," you are planting a seed of doubt and limitation. By repeating this frequently, you reinforce that belief and create a barrier that can hinder your progress. On the other hand, words of encouragement and affirmation like, "I am capable of learning and growing," act as fertilizers that nourish your self-esteem and strengthen your resilience. These positive words have the power to transform your view of yourself and, by extension, influence how you interact with the world around you. Think about the last time you faced a challenge. What words did you choose to describe the situation? Were they words that manifested anxiety and fear, or words that expressed confidence and hope? Do you see how the choice of your words can change your emotional experience and even the outcome of the situation? Beyond the emotional impact, there's also a physical dimension to the power of words. Research shows that the use of positive affirmations can actually improve your physical well-being. This happens because positive words can help reduce stress, boost your immunity, and increase your energy. Conversely, negative and self-deprecating words can contribute to exhaustion and even illness. So, how can we start using the power of words to our advantage? A simple technique is to start the day with positive affirmations. It could be something like, "Today I choose to be happy," or "I am grateful for the opportunities to learn and grow." These morning affirmations can set the tone for a more positive and productive day. Let's do a small exercise right now. Think of something you often tell yourself that isn't very encouraging. Now, try to rephrase that sentence in a way that is positive and empowering. Feel the difference in your energy and motivation when making this change. Remember, your words have power. They can create your reality and shape your future. So, what words will you choose to guide your life today? Have you ever caught yourself wondering why some plans never materialize, or why certain dreams always seem out of reach? Often, without realizing it, we are the ones who put obstacles in our own path. Let's talk a bit about how self-sabotage can manifest in our lives in more practical ways. Imagine someone who is unhappy in their current job and dreams of changing careers. But every time this idea comes to mind, thoughts like, "I'm not good enough to start in a new field," or "I probably couldn't learn the necessary skills," also emerge. These doubts are like invisible barriers that prevent the person from taking any step toward that change. The result? They continue in a job that brings no satisfaction, simply because the fear of failing seems safer than the risk of trying something new. Or consider someone who dreams of starting their own business. The idea is exciting, but it's quickly overshadowed by worries like, "What if I fail and lose everything?" Or, "Other people are more qualified than I am to succeed." This fear of failure is so paralyzing that the person never takes the first step, and the dream of being an entrepreneur remains just that, a dream. And it's not just in careers that self-sabotage appears. In relationships, for example, some people might constantly think, "I always end up hurt in relationships, so why try?" Or, "Nobody really cares about me, so it's better to stay alone." This type of thinking not only discourages attempts to form new bonds, but can also lead to emotional isolation, where the person ends up feeling lonely and unloved, exactly as they predicted. Now, I invite you to reflect. Where in your life might you be sabotaging yourself with negative thoughts or words? It could be in a personal goal, or perhaps in how you relate to others. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to breaking them. How do we start changing this? It all begins with being aware of these thoughts as they arise. Challenge these thoughts. Ask yourself if they are truly accurate, or if there is a more positive way to view the situation. This simple act of questioning can open doors to a new way of thinking and acting, paving the way for a more fulfilled and happy life. Remember, change requires effort and commitment. Let's talk about how our environment and the people around us can influence our behaviors, often reinforcing patterns of self-sabotage without us even realizing it. Have you ever felt as though you were stuck in a cycle, repeating the same mistakes or unable to reach your goals? Sometimes it's not just a matter of personal will. Our environment and relationships play a crucial role in this process. For example, consider the workplace. If you are constantly in a place where the fear of making mistakes prevails and errors are seen as failures rather than opportunities for learning, this can make you doubt your own abilities. You might start to procrastinate or avoid taking on new challenges for fear of failing. One way to deal with this might be to seek external support, such as a mentor or a support group that values growth and personal development. Now let's talk about our personal relationships. Imagine a relationship where your partner frequently criticizes your decisions. This can really undermine your self-esteem and make you feel incapable of achieving great things. Establishing healthy boundaries or even seeking counseling might be essential to maintain your emotional well-being. And what about your social circle? Friends who easily give up on their dreams and adopt a cynical view of life can even unintentionally discourage you from pursuing your own aspirations. It's important to be surrounded by people who support and encourage your goals. Sometimes, this might mean seeking new friendships or groups that share similar interests and values to yours. Being aware of these influences is crucial. Recognizing how you might be affected is the first step towards making meaningful changes. Ask yourself, are these environments and relationships supporting me or pulling me down? Reflecting on this can help you decide what changes are necessary to create a more positive and conducive environment for your personal and professional growth. So, what changes do you think you could make in your environment or relationships to better support your personal development? Remember, you have the power to influence and be influenced, and making these conscious choices can truly transform your life trajectory. Let's continue to think about how we can be the architects of our own lives, consciously choosing who and what surrounds us. Now that we've explored how our environment and relationships can influence our tendency to self-sabotage, let's delve deeper into the direct impact self-sabotage can have on achieving our dreams and goals. Have you ever had a dream or goal that seemed within reach, but something always happened to prevent you from achieving it? Often, we may not realize it, but we are the ones placing these obstacles in our way. Self-sabotage not only prevents us from realizing our dreams, but also keeps us trapped in a continuous cycle of dissatisfaction and frustration. Think about it. Imagine someone who dreams of writing a book. This person might start motivated, but soon thoughts like, "I'm not a good writer," or "no one would be interested in what I have to say," begin to surface. Unknowingly, they start to procrastinate, writing less and less until the project is completely abandoned. The result? An unfulfilled dream and a persistent sense of failure and frustration. Self-sabotage operates subtly. It can manifest as that little inner voice that constantly doubts your capabilities, or as a recurring habit of leaving everything to the last minute, compromising the quality of your work or even the possibility of completion. Remember, those who procrastinate are cursing themselves. But why do we do this to ourselves? Often it's the fear of failure or even success that leads us to sabotage our own attempts at progress. The fear of failure is understandable. Nobody wants to face rejection or disappointment. But the fear of success can be equally paralyzing. It could be the fear of the expectations that come with success, or how it might change our lives. The good news is that, by recognizing these patterns, we can begin to work towards changing them. It could start with something as simple as reaffirming your goals daily, or committing publicly to your goal to increase accountability. Each small step in the right direction can begin to undo the habit of self-sabotage. So I ask you, what dreams or goals have you been putting on the back burner? It's time to bring them back to the forefront and center of your life. Think of small actions you can start today to move these dreams closer to reality. Remember, the first step towards change is action. Don't let self-sabotage be the reason you don't achieve what you desire. Change is not easy, It requires courage, determination, and above all, a firm commitment to personal growth. However, each one of us has the incredible ability to shape our own reality. By becoming aware of self-sabotage patterns and actively choosing to think and act differently, we can not only improve our own lives but also positively influence those around us. Think about the areas of your life where you would like to see changes. Perhaps you want to be more confident, maybe you want to finally start that project you've been postponing, or perhaps you want to improve your relationships. Whatever the area, ask yourself, what steps can I start taking today to make this change? Remember, change begins with small steps, and each step you take is a victory over self-sabotage. And don't forget, you are the main person responsible for your life. As Jim Rohn said, you must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. This quote reminds us that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we have the power to control how we respond and how we allow ourselves to be influenced by those circumstances. So, what will your commitment to change be today? How will you start to take responsibility for your life in a way that truly reflects who you want to be? It's a challenge, yes, but also an incredible opportunity to grow and transform your reality. Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. Change is a door that can only be opened from the inside.